Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm happy to be here in Regina. A little quick story. When I was just getting out of college, I went to Portland State in Oregon. And these were the days of the hippie days and everything. And so I thought I'd hitchhike across the continent to New York, to go to New York. And so I actually took the northern route. I went up through Moose Jaw, Medicine Hat, and Regina. And it was really pleasant. I was only here for a few hours, but I thought it was a really neat town. So I wanted to come back. And that's one of the reasons I'm here to show my career and talk about animation. How many people here are animators or want to be animators or cartoonists? Show your hands, because I don't know whether to talk about industry stuff or just entertaining stuff. So I will try and mix it. I'll talk a little bit about entertaining and a little bit about the real life of trying to make it in the industry of animation. I think you're going to really enjoy this show today because I'm going to do some drawings here. So if anybody's way in the back, you might want to come up so I can do these, show you how I draw, how I design. It's a really important part of being a success in animation. I'm going to show some of my newest films, some works in progress, things like that. And I'm going to talk about my career, my life as an animator, and how I became successful. I got my popcorn and my Coke here, so I feel at home. I am from Oregon. I grew up, and as you know, Oregon is very rainy, and so I spent a lot of time indoors drawing. And I fell in love with drawing immediately, and then I started watching cartoons on TV, Walt Disney cartoons, Mickey Mouse Club, Warner Brothers, you know, Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. I love that because it was so funny. My dad, who was a banker, was actually a really funny guy. At a party, he would amuse everybody and get everybody laughing. He'd do practical jokes and the way he sings and things like that. And I was so jealous. God, I wish I could make people laugh like that. Well, I can't. But I can do it with my drawings. With my pencils, I can make people laugh. And so that's how I'm sort of emulating my dad, who was such an entertaining guy. So ever since I was in grade school, I knew I wanted to make animation. And that's always been the push of my career. In fact, when I was about 13 or 14, I sent a bunch of my drawings to Disney Studios, hoping that they would recognize my great talent and hire me to do some work. They sent a nice letter back saying your work shows promise, but you're too young, come back in 20 years and we'll see what we can do. So I was really inspired by that. Wow, they saw my drawings, I'm on my way kind of thing. But so in college I did all the cartoons for the school newspaper, for the yearbook, and then I graduated. And unfortunately, this was a time that animation was really dead. Walt Disney had died and the studio was almost in bankruptcy. Warner Brothers had shut down their studio, MGM shut it down. The only thing out there was Hanna-Barbera, and I hated Hanna-Barbera. I didn't think that was animation. That was just people talking with their mouths moving. So I moved to New York and became an illustrator and political cartoonist. I did a cartoon strip that was in about 20 newspapers around the country, and I did caricatures. I love doing caricatures. I did illustrations and gag cartoons for National Lampoon and publications like that. But I still had that itch to be an animator. And so in 1985, I was commissioned to do this animated film called Boomtown. And I said, yay, I finally get to make an animated film, but I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know the technology side. I knew how to draw, I knew how to do animation, but not how to put a film together. So I had this woman named Connie D'Antonio who showed me every step of the way. And I was able to make this film. It's called Boomtown. I got paid nothing. I did it for free. It was about 4 or 5 months worth of work, a lot of drawings. And the film was somewhat a successful film. It actually got a theatrical release and got some good reviews and played in festivals all over the world. And I discovered the wonderful world of film festivals, which is one reason I came here. So I decided to make my own film. And now that I know how to make films, I'm going to make my own film. And this was just kind of an experimental film. It really wasn't a finished idea film. Excuse me. I just saw something to play with. And so it's the guy's head. I don't know if some people have seen it. Like that. And he's actually really a boring guy. And I wanted to make him boring. So his hair is kind of greased back. He looks like a vacuum cleaner salesman. And he sings this song. Wears a suit. And this was it, really. This is all it was. And as he sings this song, his head starts to distort. And it really distorts in crazy ways. And that was the fun of drawing this guy's head and making it get really weird. I'd been doing a little bit of drugs then, and so I wanted to experiment with that. And the film was called Your Face. You can see it online. It's probably on YouTube. You can see it there. And for some reason, the film really took off. I remember the first screening I had with the film. I had no idea what it was, if people would like it or not. And so I showed it at a local CIFA organization screening. And I was in the back row, and these are really professional New York City animators, big names in animation. And I was this young kid with this crazy, stupid film. It's only about 3 minutes long, and he sings this really bad song. And as soon as that film started, people started laughing. And I can't tell you, I can tell you, but I can't really relate to you the feeling that went through my body when I heard people laughing at my drawing. Because all these years I've been doing cartoons for magazines and newspapers, and I never got to see people experience it, react to it, to laugh to it. And to hear a whole room full of people break out in laughter for one of my drawings was a brand new experience for me. And I felt like levitating. My body, I felt like I was high or something. And I just, it started glowing. And after the screening, they all came up to me and said, "Are you Bill Plympton? Did you make that film, Your Face?" I said, "Yeah, that's me." And they said, "Well, let's go out and let's have a drink and talk about animation." And right then I felt like, oh man, I'm home. This is where I should have been all my life. What took me so long to get into animation? And this film was such a hit. It got nominated for an Oscar, and it was it took me all over the world, and it was sold to all these TV stations. I made all this money on it, and all of a sudden people started calling me about commercials. I did commercials for NutraSweet and Trivial Pursuit, and using the same kind of concept. And all of a sudden I was making all this money. So this is not a normal experience. This is a very weird experience that your first film becomes such a success. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I waited so long to do it that I was more sophisticated in my drawing style. Anyway, let's look at a film. The first one, I think it's a, where's my list here? I think it's a Simpsons. I grew up in Portland, Oregon, and I met Matt Groening when he was young. His father was a wonderful documentary filmmaker. He made what's called industrials. And industrials are long commercials, like 30 minutes, 20 minutes long. But his were really funny. His name was Homer Groening. And he used his whole family for The Simpsons, just so you know. And Homer and I became good friends, and he invited me up to his house to look at some of his other films, and that's where I met Matt. So Matt and I have been friends for a long time, and we were at a festival together. He said, "Bill, why don't you do something for The Simpsons?" I said, "Are you kidding? I would love to do it." So this is one of the more recent ones. I think I've done about 6 of these now. They're called couch gags. So whenever you're ready to play The Simpsons Artiste, we will watch it. Yeah, I love working for The Simpsons. You can turn it off. By the way, what's up? I love working, there we go. I love working for The Simpsons because it's really good money and they let me do whatever the hell I want. I mean, this is really dark. This is a dark cartoon. And they said they were fine with it, and it's seen all over the world. It's seen by millions and millions of people, so I really love doing it. And I just did one recently, actually. I don't know if anybody saw it here, but it took the concept of this Your Face guy and made it Homer. And his face just did all these very bizarre things. And it was a huge hit. Everybody loved it. It was long, too. It was about a little over 2 minutes long. Let me sign this for you. I'm going to donate these to the festival after the show. So anyway, let me continue. I'm afraid I'm going to jump off the side here. This really, because it's dark, it's all black, and I don't know where the edge is. Anyway, so after the success of Your Face, I made 4 short films right in a row. I quit print. I called them all up, said I'm doing animation now. They said, are you crazy? You're going to lose all your money doing animation. Nobody makes money in animation, especially short films. I said, no, I think I can do it. And I did a film called How to Kiss. I did a film called One of Those Days. I did one called Push Comes to Shove and Plymptoons. And they were all very successful. We sold them to MTV and Spike and Mike and Tourney of Animation and a lot of the TV stations. So I was on my way. And then I put them all together with some of my earlier experiments that weren't so successful. I put them on a video cassette. Who remembers video cassettes? Wow. Yeah, you guys have good memories. Anyway, I put them together on a VHS, and it was an hour of animation. I said, wow, in the last 4 years, I've done a feature film. I made my own feature film. And the concept never really came to my mind until I put that cassette together, that one person could actually make a feature film, an animated feature film. And that was really revolutionary. Nobody had ever done that before. At least nobody had drawn an entire animated film by themselves. And so I got together with my musician who did the music for Your Face. Her name was Maureen McKelleran. And we used to play in a band together, a country western band in New York. And I said, let's make a animated feature similar to Yellow Submarine. I loved Yellow Submarine. It's one of my favorite films. But we use American roots music, rockabilly, Delta blues, surfing music, country western, that kind of stuff. And so we did it. We tried to sell it to Hollywood. They didn't want to have anything to do with it because I was a nobody and I was one person drawing a film. You know, that doesn't make sense. But it went to Sundance, and this was in 91 or 92, I think, went to Sundance, and got a huge response. Really, people loved the film. We were rock stars at Sundance, and Tarantino was there the same year. He had Reservoir Dogs. And he came up to me, oh my God, Bill Plympton, I've seen all your films, because he worked in that video store, right? Vidiot's or something, and he'd seen my video cassette there. So he became a big fan. In fact, if you ever see a film called Kill Bill, the husband who's marrying Uma Thurman in the beginning of the film is Mr. Plympton. And I said, hey, where'd you get that name? He said, that's you, dude, you're Mr. Plympton. So check it out. Check out Kill Bill. You'll see it. So the film was distributed. It did pretty well, and I was hooked. I continued to make animated feature films. In fact, at the end of the show, I'll show you a little excerpt of my new one. And I do like a feature film every 3 years or every 2 years, and then I'll do 2 or 3 shorts a year. And for me, that works. That keeps me happy. I'm always busy drawing, and I'm always got films to show. And in fact, I should have brought my new one here. I don't know why I didn't think about it. That was really, really stupid. It's called Revengeance. And in fact, after the show, I have some Revengeance postcards. I will do a drawing for you on the back of the card. So I'll be out in the lobby there, and come by and get your free drawing, free Bill Plympton drawing. Yeah, they're very cool. Let's look at another film. This one's called Footprints, and this was an idea I had, and I thought it was a really cool idea, really brilliant idea. It wasn't that successful of a film that I thought it would be, but it's still one of my favorite films. I love the look, the style, the humor, the design, and the idea. I think it's a really powerful idea. It goes deeper than, you have to watch it 3 or 4 times to really get the meaning of the message. So Krista, whenever you're ready, let's put in Footprints, please. This was done with a ballpoint pen. Yeah, I love ballpoint pens. They're great. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about how to make a film that's a successful film. And I have what I call my Plympton's dogma. And I'll write it down for you. And these are 3 rules that if you follow, your films will be a success. And I follow these rules all the time. Number one, and it goes for shorts and for features, and it goes for animation and live action. It goes either way. Number one is make your film short. I judge a lot of films at festivals, and I program a lot of films for festivals. If I see a 20-minute film on the program, already I don't like that film. I don't want to see that film. Because if it's a bad film, you are stuck for 20 minutes watching crap. If it's a 5-minute film, okay, I can sleep for 5 minutes and then continue. But really, make a film short. Nobody wants to buy a 20-minute film. It's impossible to sell it. TV stations don't want it, internet doesn't want it, festivals don't want it. It's really an impossible film to sell. There's a guy named John Kaymaker, who's a wonderful man, very talented, and he won an Oscar for a 30-minute animated film called The Sun and the Moon. And he's, you know, he really thought he had it made then. And I ran into him later, he says, nobody wants my film, I can't sell it. It won an Oscar, I can't sell my film. Duh, 30 minutes, who's gonna program a 30-minute film? It's really, really impossible. Number two, make your film cheap. I do all the drawings on my set myself, I edit it myself, I do all the storyboards, the character design, the backgrounds, I direct, I produce. As many jobs as you can do yourself, that's money you're going to save in the production cost of the film. I try to keep my films to $1,000 a minute. If I can do that, then it's really easy to make my money back. And that's how I'm able to continue making films. And number three, and probably the most important, make it funny. Now, if you want to make a film about politics, or the depths of your soul, or some abstract film, go ahead, but nobody's going to want to see it. It's really, except maybe your parents. It's really hard to sell a film that's not funny. If you have a funny film, everybody wants to show it. Everybody wants to watch it. Look at YouTube. What are the big successes on YouTube? Some cat falling out of a tree. Try and get a little bit of humor in there. You can still make a political point or a social point, but try and put some humor in there, and it's going to be a lot easier to sell. I'll give you another example. When I was nominated for an Oscar in 2005 for Guard Dog, I was up against a Canadian film called, what's his, oh, I forgot the name of the film now. It's by Chris Landreth. Anybody remember that film? Won the Oscar? It's a film board film. Ryan. And it's a wonderful film. It's a great film. And he won the Oscar, and you know what? He deserved to win the Oscar. It's a much better film than mine. I mean, Chris Landreth is a genius. He's really, really great. But that film will never show a profit because he broke every one of my rules. It was 17 minutes long. It probably cost $1 million. It's Maya technology, computer animation. And it wasn't funny. It was about this drug-addicted Canadian animator who was also an alcoholic. And the film never made a profit. But you know what? That's okay. The film board doesn't care. They don't want the money. They want that Oscar, and that's what they were shooting for. But I need the money. I need to make a profit. So I have to make films that are really low budget, you know, like I said, $3,000 or $4,000, $5,000. And then it's easy for me to make my money back. Another Canadian, I keep running into these Canadians. I lost in 1987 to another Canadian, what's his name? The guy did Crack, Frederick Bach. And he did The Man Who Planted Trees. Wonderful film. He deserved to win the Oscar. But I just keep running into these guys. And then another example I like to point out is Marv Newland, who lives in Vancouver, BC. And he did a wonderful film called Bambi Meets Godzilla. Have you all seen Bambi Meets Godzilla? That's my goal, is to make a Bambi Meets Godzilla, because this film, he did it in a weekend. It cost him $500. First of all, it's 2 minutes, a minute long. It cost him $500, and it was a very funny film. And that film has gone on to make hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, he's living off that film. He's famous for that film. And That's what I wish I could do. I wish I could be like Marv Newland. He's one of my heroes. He's one of my, actually all three of those guys. Chris Landreth and Frederick Bach are also my heroes.
What's Bambi meets Godzilla?
Check it out on YouTube. It's all over the place. Well, I don't want to give it up the punchline away, but Bambi fights off Godzilla. So there you go. People have seen it, right? Yeah, it's a classic. Let's look at another film. This is something that I wanted to make as a TV show, a TV series. And it's kind of a wacky idea. And so this is the pilot. This did all right on the festival circuit, but it's something that I really want to make into a regular TV show. It's called Tiffany the Whale. And Christo, you ready? The volume was a little loud. Was that a little loud for you with Footprints? Yeah. Christo, bring the volume down just a touch if you could. And here we go with Tiffany the Whale.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the premiere of Count Altro's new line. And inside, everyone's here. Editors, critics, movie stars, photographers, and hockey players. The talk of the town is top model Pilar and her rivalry with controversial newcomer Tiffany.
Well, call me Ishmael. We meet again, Tiffany. Hi, Pilar. It's nice to see you too. All of you.
Look, I really like you, I admire you, and, I don't know why you don't like me.
Would you like a glass of champagne? It seems like you have a couple of nerves before you walked in the runway.
I've actually never had alcohol before. Is that
Really?
is that what all the models do before the show?
Wait, so that's not a beer gut you're sporting? Are you preggers? Did someone actually get a ladder, climb on top of you, and get you preggers?
To be honest, you kind of just look like a pile of dust kind of formed into a broom thing.
Oh my god. I feel so bad. I mean, all this time I've just been making fun of you, and now you just gave me the best compliment anyone's ever given. I really look like a broom to you? Oh, Tiffany, that's so sweet. If I had 100 more arms to attach to my arms, I would hug you. But hugging you now would just be making a T against your wall of a body. Seriously.
Okay, I thought we were going to be friends for a second. I really thought you were serious about this.
Friends? I don't have room in my calendar for a friend as big as you. Listen, Tiffany, you and people like you have no place in the world of modeling.
Come on, girls, stop your bickering. We have a show to do. Tiffany, try this dress on. It's my pièce de résistance.
Soon it's gonna be in pieces on the floor when she rips it.
Okay, I'm gonna get into the dress and I am gonna look fabulous.
Should I help by getting the Crisco to squeeze you into it, Tiffany?
I'm not gonna rip it. I'm gonna own it.
You're gonna have to own it, because once you rip something, you break it, you buy it. So you'll be purchasing the stage, the sidewalk later, probably Probably most of the Northwestern Hemisphere.
Here, put on your shoes, and the ensemble is complete.
Are they 12-inch stilettos, did you say?
Not the 12-inch stilettos, those are killers. Do you know how many models we've lost on those?
Okay, I'll take the 20. I'll take the 20.
By 20, she means she'll take the 20-piece bucket of KFC chicken.
Okay, whales
We're
don't
not
eat
at a
chicken.
restaurant.
Whales don't eat chicken, okay? You're just being ignorant.
You're never gonna fit in. You're never gonna get Conrad. You're never gonna have tiny rib bumps where tits are supposed to be. You are never gonna be a model.
Now appearing on the catwalk, Count Ultro's top model, Pilar.
Oh gosh, I can't compete with Pilar. What am I thinking? She's a hypermodel.
You're going out there a whale, but you're coming back a star. You're on, baby.
How come no one's cheering? Am I hideous? They hate me. My gown must be unzipped, or I didn't wear underpants, or... Of course I wore underpants. You were raised right, Tiffany. Maybe the colors clash with my hide. What about the shoes? No, it can't be the shoes. It's never the shoes' fault. Oh God. Count Ultra's entire season is going to be ruined, and it's going to be all my fault, and I'll never reunite with my beloved Conrad. That seems so long ago now. After my mother was killed by those evil whalers. And then I found my Conrad and followed him to the big city. But Pilar said he only dates models. So I became a model worthy of my Conrad. This sure is a quiet audience. Wait, maybe this is a good kind of silence. They must be stunned by the beauty of my gown and my inner light, and they're holding their collective breath at such a bold and innovative experience. In their minds, they're saying, Tiffany, more like Epiphany. What's that smell? It's so familiar and tasty. Why is my mouth filling up with so much saliva? What's that at the end of the runway? What is that? Oh no. Oh, they like me. They really like me. I'm a success, gosh darn it. Oh, and yet I'm strangely drawn to that bucket. I must go to it. But why? It's a wonderful aroma, sure, but... Oh, it's krill. My kryptonite. I must have it now. It's been so long. Oh, this powerful urge is forcing me to run to the krill, even past my beloved Conrad. Oh, I must see Conrad. No, krill. No, Conrad. Yes, krill. No, Conrad. Krill. But how did it get there? Who could have put it there? Oh no, I'm running. That's not such a good idea. No! Oh God! Oh, my 20-inch stilettos are making it too difficult to run. I don't care. I need my krill. Oh no, I'm slipping. It's happening. No, it's stopping it now! Well, I hope the dress looks good at this angle. Too bad it's such an overbooked audience. They're trapped in their seats. They're gonna die. Oh, what a thrill, even in an oil spill, you can have krill. Put on a smile and it'll fill up your belly. It may be sorta smelly to others. Krill doesn't take any skill just to eat some krill, and the calories are low. You gotta have krill.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I forgot to draw the footprints guy, so he's very simple, and again, this is a wonderful lesson for people who want to be a cartoonist. He's sort of the shape of a lozenge, you know, like a pill kind of guy. It's got a little hat, something like that, little glasses and a nose, no mouth. I didn't give him a mouth. And he's got a little bow tie here, and very skinny arms. And then just nothing for legs. They're just really just little twigs for legs, and that's it. And that's why it was so easy to draw, and I drew him really fast because he's really quite simple designed character. Tiny hands. I love tiny hands because a lot of people, when they start making their characters, they like big hands. I don't know why, because it makes them hard to draw. Hands are incredibly difficult to draw, one of the hardest things to draw. So I avoid that by just doing little lumps for hands. I don't have to worry about the details of the hand. Let me sign this one too. That's footprints. And then I want to draw Tiffany for you. If you want, I will draw Tiffany on your card if you want a card afterwards. So Tiffany again is I was thinking of doing a sperm whale, but everybody uses sperm whale, so she's sort of a blue whale, so she's kind of like this, and very simple drawing. Just a dot for an eye. And occasionally I'll put in an eyebrow, but not all the time. And that's it. That's Tiffany the whale. It's really very simple. And you can see that this technique for Tiffany the whale was very minimal. I like that because for animation sometimes gets really expensive and very tedious, very slow because there's so much detail in these drawings. And for Tiffany, I thought for TV it would be really nice to have it very simple, but in a way that kind of works, you know, the simplicity of Tiffany is really kind of works. I'll sign this one too. And I heard the speaker before talking about festivals, and I think that's a really important step in success of your film is to send it to a festival. And that's what I did. Whenever I finish a film, I send it to the festivals. Annecy is a great festival. It's in France. It's strictly animation. All the buyers go there. People looking for films to show on their channel, and they have their checkbooks out. Also Cannes, of course, the Oscars. Don't forget about the Oscars. They accept films from anybody. There's no limit. Anybody can enter the Oscars, no limits. Sundance, of course, and South by Southwest, and Toronto is a very big festival. I love Toronto. I don't always get in. It's hard to get in. It's very competitive, but it's really probably one of the most important festivals in North America. Let's look at another movie. This is my newest dog film. Let me draw the dog too. So. The story of the dog started when I live in New York City, by the way, in Chelsea. I was jogging one morning, and I saw this dog barking at a little bird. And I wondered, you know, people always ask me where to get my ideas. Well, oftentimes it's from real life. And I saw this dog barking at a bird. I wondered, why is a dog, a big dog, afraid of a tiny little cute little bird? And I went inside the dog's brain and realized that he was afraid the bird would attack his master and he would lose his meal ticket, his companion, his buddy. And I thought, wow, he's a paranoid dog. You know, that's kind of a funny idea. So I went home right away. I stopped my jogging, went home and started drawing the dog and possible ideas of things. This film was called Guard Dog. Again, you can see it on YouTube, I think, or most anywhere online. Check out Guard Dog. And That was a huge success, just like your face. For some reason, it just took off. And I think as people sympathized with the dog, or they empathized with the dog, and they felt that that it was more emotional than my other films. Most of my films are kind of wacky cartoons, but this one has deeper and deeper meaning. So it was very successful. So I decided to do a sequel, and this was called Hot Dog, where he works for a fire department. And then Guide Dog, where he led blind people around. And then Horn Dog, where he had a girlfriend. He fell in love with a girlfriend. And then we did a compilation called Guard Dog Global Jam, where we invited artists from all over the world, no matter what their talent level was, to contribute one of the scenes. Just select one of the scenes you liked in Guard Dog and reanimate it the way you want to do it. Some people did it in clay, some did it in paper, computer, whatever. And so this is the latest one. This is Cop Dog, because I travel to a lot of festivals. I'm always going through airports and I see these dogs sniffing luggage. But anyway, let me draw the dog and then we'll watch the movie. Again, it's a very simple design. It's kind of a circle design. And he's got big bug-out eyes and a nose and a big mouth, like that, with a fat tongue. So most of the emotion goes right to the mouth. The mouth is really the key to the personality of the dog. And then just little nubbins for legs and nubbins for tail. So you can see that I really concentrate on a certain part of the dog's anatomy that I want you to look at. You're not looking at the feet. They're very boring. They're very boring. Someone could draw really beautiful legs for the dog, but that would ruin the design. Then you'd start looking at the legs. I don't want you to look at the legs. I want you to look at here and the eyes. That's where the excitement, that's where the emotion is. And usually I'll put some spittle coming out because he's slobbering. He's a slobbering dog, as most dogs are. And then he has a little leash. Someone's usually carrying him, and he's always bouncing. He's like a rubber ball. He's always bouncing off the ground. Well, you'll see it when you see the film. So this is my design for Guard Dog. Anyway, Krista, is that right, Krista? You ready for the Cop Dog? I think she is. I don't think she can speak down here. So here we go with Cop Dog, the latest of the dog films. Thank you very much. Let me sign it. When I was an illustrator, I worked a lot in color pencil. And I love the way color pencil works because you can blend colors and get a nice medium color and mix things really well, and it gets a nice texture, kind of impressionistic, almost like a Monet painting or a Van Gogh painting where you really have all the textures in there, and I love that. So the first guard dog I did was color pencil, and I continue to do that. In fact, your face was color pencil, and a lot of my earlier drawings were on color pencil. I never did a feature film in color pencil. That's just too much work, because each drawing has to be modeled and shaded, and I do all that myself. But as you can see, this was color pencil, and I'll probably be doing some more dog films and probably continue using color pencil. Okay, I'm going to see if you've been listening to me. I have some door prizes. I have a CD of music from I Married a Strange Person. And I'm going to ask a question, and the first one who answers it gets a CD. The first question is, what is the first film I got nominated for an Oscar for?
Your face.
You're right, the photographer. Okay, you give him a big hand, yeah. The second film I got nominated for an Oscar. I just told you about a minute ago. Yeah, no, yeah, that's right, right, I'm sorry, you're right. Who said that? Can you pass that back? Thank you. Yeah, this is I Married a Strange Person, and it's probably the darkest and the most twisted film I did. A lot of parts of it are really nonsensical and totally surreal, but it was a big hit. In France, it was a blockbuster, and well, I shouldn't say a blockbuster, but very successful. And the U.S., it did really good business too. So that's why I love the soundtrack. It's really a great soundtrack. Okay. One more business thing, and then I'll stop talking about business, because I know there are not a lot of filmmakers here. So I'm going to show you how I make my money doing independent films. For some reason, there's this attitude, this idea that it's impossible to make a living doing short films. And I disagree. I think short films, if they're done right, if you follow my dogma, you can make money doing them. So the first place I go is theatrical. That's in theaters. And sometimes my films are placed with a feature film. Sometimes they're in a compilation of short films. There's different ways that it'll play in movie theaters. Number two is non-theatrical. And that is schools, libraries, institutions, universities, airlines, places like that. I do a lot of sales there. Non-theatrical TV is a big market, especially in Europe. I sell really well to all the big channels. They love short films. They love short, funny films in Europe. But also I sell sometimes in the US to TV. DVDs, I have DVDs here. And almost all my films I have on DVD, and I'll be showing those to you. We got a special deal for Regina, $10 each, 10 American bucks. So, I mean, Canadian bucks, excuse me. What else? DVDs, then internet. I'm starting to do a lot of sales on internet. And we're starting a Plympton channel where you can see all my films on the Plympton channel. And it's about 20 hours of animation that I've been doing. So actually there's some live action in there too, so it's not just animation. In fact, it may be 25 hours, I'm not quite sure, I haven't added it up, but it's about 10 feature films and almost 100 shorts. So it comes out to about 25 hours of cool, humorous entertainment. Internet, also I do commissions. Like I said, the Madonna music video, Kanye West, I do commercials, I do work for documentaries. People who make documentaries want animation for their documentary, so I do a lot of stuff for that. And then original art, I sell a lot of original art. Actually, this should go into merch. You know, things like posters. I print out posters a lot of times, T-shirts, the CDs, things like that. And original art. Now the original art is becoming very popular, especially some of the stuff I'm doing for Simpsons. There's a big market of collectors who collect anything Simpson. And so I've tapped into that market. And one more. And then Kickstarter. I use Kickstarter. I'm sort of wearing out my welcome on Kickstarter because I've been doing it so much, and my fans say, oh, not another Plympton Kickstarter. I've done 3 of them. So I probably will stop doing Kickstarter, but that's a good source of income. So you can see I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sources of income. Now, all of these, I mean, any one of these don't make enough money to keep my studio going, but all of them together is enough money to continue working on my studio. I have a small studio. I have about 5 employees, and a couple of them are interns, which is really nice. And so with that personnel and myself is enough to make all my films. If I do get that TV contract or something like that, then I'll have to expand. But right now, doing a couple shorts a year and a feature every 3 years, that's enough for me. Okay, let's look. We're getting down near the end here. Oh, this is really cool. This is something different. It's funny, but it's a commercial project. It's like the music videos I've been doing for Kanye West and Weird Al Yankovic. I was contacted by this guy named Jackie Green, who does a lot of like Grateful Dead sessions. He's really kind of a dancing kind of musician, but it's sort of how would I describe it? Not country rock, but sort of folk rock. Well, that's not even a good example. I'll think of it. Anyway, he asked me to do 30 minutes of animation to 6 of his songs. And I thought, wow, that's really exciting. That's really cool, because I loved his music. I thought it was really blues rock. It's more like blues rock. Well, you'll see it when you see it. So anyway, I just finished them. We're going to show one of them to you. This is called Tupelo. And they just came out like a few months ago, so watch for these. It's Jackie Green, and the album is called Modern Lives, so check that out. Okay, Krista, are you ready? Here we go with Tupelo by Jackie Green, and this was also done with color pencil.
Someone told him about the gambler to Tupelo. Someone told him about the cocaine. Someone told him about the pilot snow. Someone told him you can drink fine liquor, find a friend down in Tupelo. Someone told him about the bright lights. Someone told him about the cheap peep show. But nobody ever told him about the hard times in Tupelo. Tupelo, Tupelo, I ain't going down there no more. Tupelo, Tupelo, I ain't going down to Tupelo. It ain't fair, it ain't fair. You come on all you like, but the devil don't care. You can run away, but the devil knows you'll be back someday. It ain't none of my business, son. I hate to see you fall so low. I'm only trying to give fair warning about the devil down in Tupelo. Tupelo, Tupelo, I ain't going down there no more. Tupelo, Tupelo, I ain't going down to Tupelo. Oh no, I ain't. It's hard times, hard times. Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. Devil down in Tupelo. Stay down, stay down.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, that was a lot of fun because in a sense it's very similar to Your Face, that first film that I did. Basically, I just a guy walking, and I wanted to see how many weird ways I could distort his walk. And as I watched it, I thought of a couple more that, oh man, why didn't I do that? Why didn't I do that? So it's a wonderful, wonderful exercise and a concept, and this is probably the most popular one of the series, but they're all really good. So if you get a chance, check out Jackie Green, Modern Lives. You can see all of them. It was really a fun project. Okay, we're getting to near the end. I'm going to show an excerpt from my new film, and this again is a pilot. It's a sort of a sampling of some of the characters, the production design, the background design, you know, just so people get a sense of it. And then I put Hank Williams music on there. And I love Hank Williams, and so this film is called Slide. The basic plot is that it's a corrupt town in the Northwest, which, as you know, I came from. It's a lumber town up in the mountains, a lumber town, very corrupt. And this mythical slide guitar player enters town and cleans up the corruption. So what you're going to see is a bunch of the bad guys, the hitman. If you see two fat guys, those are the guys that are really the people who run this corrupt town. And if you see a guy with a slide guitar, he's the good guy who cleans it up. So we want to use Hank Williams music, but we can't afford it. It's very expensive. So I'm hiring Maureen McKelleran, who I told you before, and Hank Bones to recreate the Hank Williams music. And at this point, we have a storyboard. It's all storyboarded. The dialogue is written. The characters are designed, and we're starting animation. So far, I've done about, 8 minutes of animation. So we have a long ways to go. It's going to be about an 80-minute film. So we got a long ways to go, but I feel really strongly about this film. I feel really good, like this is this is a film I was destined to make because it really brings back all of my early life, you know, growing up in the hills of Oregon and slide guitar, country music, and Hank Williams. I grew up listening to Hank Williams, and so it really feels like such a natural thing, something so easy to do. So Krista, can we watch a little sample of Slide? This has no animation, it's just sample art. So here we go.
When you are sad and lonely and have no place to go, come to see me, baby, and bring along some dough, and we'll go honky tonkin', honky tonkin', honky tonkin', honey, baby. We'll go honky tonkin' round this town. When you and your baby have a falling out, call me up, sweet mama, and we'll go stepping out, and we'll go honky tonkin', honky tonkin', honky tonkin', honey, baby. We'll go honky tonkin' round this town. We're going into the city fair. If you go to the city, baby, you will find me there, and we'll go honky tonkin', honky tonkin', honky tonkin', honey, baby. We'll go honky tonkin' round this town.
Oh, I love that music. I was going to dance, shoot. I'll do a drawing of Slide for you real quick. I like this kind of hat that's really kind of flat, not perfectly flat, but kind of flat. And then I love his head where it goes like this. It's got a nice chin. Like that. He's sort of a Roman sculpture kind of face. And then the shadow covers his eyes. You never see his eyes. Then of course that. And then he has his collar's turned up. He's really fun to draw. I love drawing him. And again, I love the shadow, doing the shadows. That's very cool. The shading is always so much fun. You know, I can get lost in these drawings. I'll sit in front of the TV or the news is on or a movie or something like that, and I start drawing and I just forget about time. I get lost in the artwork. And I think that's really important. If you do want to get into the film business, make it something you love. Make it something that really gets you excited, something that you could do all day long and never worry about anything. And that's why I'm able to make, you know, all these movies, make 8 feature films by myself and all these shorts. I want to talk about one more project, and then I'll tell you a story. It's a new project. Some of you may have seen it. It's called Trump Bites. Anybody seen Trump Bites? A couple people? Yeah, good. I was approached a few months ago by this guy named Billy, and Billy and David, the two guys together, and they wanted to put together a animated series using Trump's dialogue, using his speeches that he has said. And so they wanted someone who, one, loved politics, and two, was an animator. And so I said, yeah, this is really something I've wanted to do for a long time, because as you know, I was doing political cartoons for 14 years, doing caricatures and things like that. Oh, let me do a drawing of Trump. I forgot about that. Yeah. Yeah, he's fun to draw. I love to draw Trump. Actually, he's a little bit like Slide, now that I think about it. His head is, well, I'll draw his hair first, because his hair is kind of systematic of what he looks like. Then he has tiny eyes, big eyebrows. His nose goes down like that. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of tiny. And his lips, like Slide, they go out too. Then he has a huge neck. No chin, no jawbone. It's just like goes straight down. And that's Trump. Something like that. That's all I need to do. Just keep it simple. Ta-da. So anyway, watch for those. We had a Kickstarter campaign to raise money because it was bought by the New York Times, and they didn't pay enough money to pay for the making of these films. So we went to Kickstarter to get some supplementary income so I could continue making them. I've done 3 so far, and one of them was about Putin. Has caused quite a scandal. I was really surprised at the people reacting to it. I got a lot of hate mail, a lot of Russian trolls stuff. I mean, it was crazy. The syntax was all wrong. You know, you knew there was a machine that made these things up, and it was really quite ugly. So I guess in a way that's good because they're really popular. People like them. People are reading them. People are reacting to them. Even I don't know if you know who Sean Hannity is. He showed a clip of it on his show, so he was offended. So I know Trump must have seen him. So that makes me feel good. I like that, yeah. So I'm working on one right now. As soon as I get back, we'll finish up another one, and then I have another one storyboarded and ready to go. So we'll have 5 of them, and I hope we can continue making these things because they're a lot of fun for me. I really enjoy it. So that's what I'm doing. Let me finish up with a little story, and then we'll do Q&A. I told you earlier that I sent a bunch of drawings to Disney when I was about 15, and he sent a nice letter back, come back in 20 years. Well, oddly enough, when I did Your Face, and I got nominated for an Oscar, and the film was really so popular everywhere, Disney sent a lawyer to me, Disney Studios. And the lawyer comes into my office, and he comes in wearing a nice suit and tie and a big briefcase. And he opens up the briefcase and shows me a contract. And looks me in the eye and says, Walt Disney Studios wants to give you $1 million to come work for us. And I go, wow, you know, this is my childhood dream. This is what I've wanted to do all my life. This is the top job I could ever attain. And I got so excited, I was really happy. And then I said, well, that's really great, but can I still make my weird short films on the weekend? He said, yeah, you can do that, but Disney will own those. I said, well, what if I tell someone a funny story? Oh, well, that's Disney's. What if I have a dream? Well, that's Disney's. And that's the way they work. And I don't begrudge them that because they're very successful, and a lot of people don't care. They don't want to do things on the side. They want to work only for Disney, only draw Disney characters. But I think at that point in my life, I was really enjoyed being independent. I really enjoyed doing my own ideas, my own stories. I probably would have started sneaking naughty things in the animation if I worked for Disney. I probably would have been fired after 3 or 4 months. And they never told me what they wanted me for. I only found out later that it was for the genie in Aladdin, that crazy Robin Williams character that changes a lot and transforms and everything. So that's why they wanted me, but they never told me that. So I said no to Disney and $1 million. I know you probably think that's crazy, and sometimes I think it's crazy. Why did I do that? But every morning when I get up, I go to my drawing board and I draw whatever the hell I want. No one's going to tell me what not to draw. To me, that's worth more than $1 million. And that's why I'm independent. Thank you. Thank you very much. And that's why I sell DVDs. Can we have the house lights on, please? So I can see people talking.
I just want to say before you answer questions,
Okay.
what have I been doing all my life? You really have been a source of inspiration, I think, to us who strive to do things that we might not otherwise
Well, thank
think
you.
we can do.
Thank you.
And so I know many of you are also feeling inspired and probably have several questions. I'd like you, he's come a long way. He's given us a presentation that is so complex and intricate in terms of the many things that you're trying to give us.
Yeah.
Go for your best question, okay? Because I think everyone's probably going to have at least one. And then once everyone's had the chance, or more or less, to ask their best question, then we'll see if we have time for more than that. Over to you.
Also, I'll be out in the lobby there with giving you a free drawing. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you. I will draw you the dog, or I will draw you Tiffany the whale, or the footprints guy. Those are the 3 drawings I will do for you. I'm not going to do Trump. So if you have more questions that I didn't get to, then you can ask me out in the lobby. I'll be there for hours, so don't worry about taking up my time. Okay, I need the house lights back on. I don't know what happened, because I can't see a thing. But you can yell it out. Okay, anybody have a question?
Would you say Robert Crumb was a big influence?
Yeah, a lot of people. That's a wonderful question. A lot of people have influenced me. Winsor McKay, one of the great Disney animators, R. Crumb, Milton Glaser, people like Marv Newland. Marv Newland's a genius. A lot of the artists, Goya is a big influence, Van Gogh. Disney, of course, Bob Clampett, Tex Avery, Chuck Jones, yeah. I steal from everybody. I'll be honest with you. You know, it's what's really funny because people look at my work and they say, oh man, you're so original. You know, where'd you get that idea? And they don't know that I stole from everybody. And it's an amalgam of all these different techniques and styles that I chose from. I mean, there's probably 100 people that I stole from. So it's hard to remember them all. Anybody else? Yes, back there in the red.
Do you have a ritual that you do before you sit down and do a bunch of drawing or creating a story of some sort, or do you just kind of sit down and do it and see where you go?
Yeah, that's a good question. What I like to do before I get started in the morning is lay in bed and visualize the scenes I'm going to draw. Usually I do maybe 6 scenes a day. I can do 15 minutes of animation a day, 15 seconds of animation a day. And usually it's maybe 3 or 4 scenes is better. And I'll visualize each one, what happens, where the movement is, where the shadows are, you know, how to time it and everything like that. So that takes about a half an hour, maybe an hour of visualizing what I'm going to draw. Sometimes I don't do that, and usually the drawings are pretty crappy. So I really encourage you to visualize. If you are making a drawing, visualize it as much as you can, and then do the drawings. Someone here had a question? Yes.
I really, really love the footprint.
Oh, the footprints, yeah.
And I'm just wondering, the person, the monster, is it himself?
Very good, you got it. You got it. That's his own fear, his own paranoia. And if you didn't notice it, he's the guy who's destroying everything. His footprints are crushing things. He shot the tree, he started the fire, he sinks the oil barrels in the water and ruins the environment. He's like a monster. He's the monster, and that's his fantasy, or his fear rather, that there's someone out there doing the destruction when in fact it's himself. So very good, very observant.
Actually, at the beginning, when he would have a fear the monster gonna eat the tree, the plant, and then he shot, the plant is broken.
Yeah.
At that moment, I know
That's where you figured it out.
it is, yeah, that was that moment.
Very good. You're very observant. More observant than I am. Anybody else?
I'm wondering, is there an artist or a piece of art that you have experienced your own that's a big deal or a big inspiration to you, or a thrill of a lifetime?
Yeah, good question. Wow. Yeah, I've been drawing all my life, so it's hard to remember. I do remember I was in the junior high. I think I was 11 or something, 10 maybe. And the teacher said, draw one of your family members. So I told Dad, my dad was working on a table, and I said, let me draw you, Dad. And I don't know what happened, but that was amazingly good drawing. You know, sometimes they're terrible, and this one, everything just kind of fit together. And my teacher just said, are you sure you did this? Because it looks so sophisticated for an 11-year-old kid. And that drawing, I still have it today, and I'm still amazed at how the likeness of my dad is just perfect. I just nailed it, and that's rare. I still have trouble drawing sometimes. You know, I have to draw it 3 or 4 times before I get it right, and that comes with you know, experience. You really have high standards, and I want to make it as good as I can. So you have to throw away a lot of drawings. Yes, sir.
What are some of your favorite animated films or films that have inspired you?
Yes, that's a wonderful question too. Yellow Submarine I like a lot. I like almost all of Tex Avery's films. I like Dumbo. Dumbo's good. There's this guy named, I won't be able to pronounce it. Yeah, he's a Japanese animator, Yakuzi Yama or something like that, who did a film called Mind Game. And if you get a chance to see it, it's an amazing film. It's not your typical anime, and that's one reason I like it. I hate anime. If anybody here is doing anime, please stop. If I see someone coming in my studio with anime in their portfolio, I kick them out. Because anime is so rigid. It's a formula. It's like a factory. Everything looks exactly the same, and it never veers off on something unique. And I really encourage young artists to find something that's unique to them. Now, I stole from a lot of people, and I admit that. But eventually, it evolved into something original. I mean, I grew up drawing Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and Bugs Bunny. But I left that behind, and I started making my own original art. And so I encourage young artists to, okay, you can be influenced by anime, but please don't show that in your portfolio. Nobody wants to see it. Unless you want to go to Japan and work for these factories and do some animation there. But yeah, this guy, Mind Game, is just beautiful film. Another guy, Carlos Niñe, who I didn't mention, but he's a Argentinian illustrator who just died recently. His artwork blows my mind. He's really amazing. Carlos Niñe, N-I-N-E is his name. Winsor McKay's films. Winsor McKay, do people know Winsor McKay? Good, I love that. That's great. Because most people don't know who he is. Yeah, he did Little Nemo and Slumberland, and Gertie the Dinosaur, 2 of the classics of early animation. He was so good, and he was like me. He did every drawing himself. He did every single drawing, and he really knew his anatomy, and he was very funny, and he was so good that it took maybe 50, 60 years for Disney to catch up with him. Disney never equaled his draftsmanship. Disney Studios never equaled his draftsmanship until the 60s, something like that. And so he was just that far ahead of anybody else. Yeah?
Sorry, just one more. What are some of the animated films, like, even of recent, that you've enjoyed and that you think are...
Well, Mind Games is one. I mean, I like How to Train Your Dragon. Generally, I like the Pixar films and the DreamWorks films. you know, I like generally computer animation. I don't like the Shrek films. I think they're really ugly, and they're really not that funny to me. But I don't like Wes Anderson. People probably here love Wes Anderson. I accept that, but I'm not a big Wes Anderson fan. Yeah, I like Miyazaki. Miyazaki's great. He's beautiful. He's got some really great artwork, really good. He doesn't have much of a sense of humor, but I think his stuff is very, very beautiful. Yes?
So where do you get the inspiration from your characters? You talked about the dog on the street. You developed the characters, so where do you get that?
My inspiration comes from New York City, really. It's such a surreal city. It's a crazy city, and it's so mixed. I mean, you see every kind of person in the world, every kind of outfit, every kind of. You hear all these conversations and little bits of conversation, and they're so surreal, and that's sometimes it inspires me to make something out of that. And sometimes I misunderstand people, and that's a nice inspiration. People will say something that doesn't make sense to me, and I say, "Oh, that's crazy. I like that." So I think it's a city that's really crowded. I'm not saying it's the best city in the world or it's for everybody, but I like New York for the craziness, the energy of the city, and that's why I always carry a little sketchbook in my pocket, and I write down ideas. In fact, I have a whole bunch of ideas already, and that's where I get my ideas. Yes?
What do you do with all the drawings? Once they've got
if you come to my studio, I got boxes that go all the way to the ceiling of artwork. And like I said, they're all for sale. The Simpsons is a very hot topic, and the dog films are very sellable. And I'll do Comic-Cons, you know, like San Diego or New York or places like that, and I sell a lot of the drawings there. The drawings now are becoming a lot more popular. I don't know why. The Trump drawings are popular too. Those are very popular. So I don't know why people are starting to collect art a lot more than they used to, but I find a good market for original art.
Well, I think we're desiring something real.
Well, with computers, there's nothing there, you know.
Do you have a website that things are available?
Yes, I do. The cards I'm going to hand out, they have, it's plymptoons.com, and you can see all my artwork there. And if you get a DVD or you see it online, a frame that you really like, give us a call and we'll make a deal. Yes?
Do you ever, you're hand drawing all these sequences, do you ever repeat the same sequence?
Yes, I do. And cycles too. People know what cycles are? It's someone's walking. You don't want to have them walking all the way across because that'll take you all day. But if you do one step, you can just duplicate it, multiply it, and that saves a lot of time. Especially for that Tupelo film that I did that a lot because of it's a walking cycle. And so I multiplied that cycle a lot. And the one where one guy walking, then two, then three, then four, then a million guys walking, that was all done digitally. That was very easy to do. I didn't have to draw that, so that was good. Yes, sir?
So just so I can have a general idea, what was a studio when you first started out? What it would cost you versus today? What would it cost you?
Well, originally I just worked out of my apartment, which is in Chelsea, New York, and then that was easy. Then I brought in an assistant, art director, colorist, and then it's been growing ever since. Now I'm in a studio. It's I don't know, about from here to that wall. It's about that big, and then, like I say, I have 6 people, and we were busy all the time. We got a lot of projects going on. The Trump thing keeps us very busy, and plus the new feature.
We've got time for one more question. You haven't had a chance, so that's what I was just going to say.
Yeah.
I loved your advice about hand and how to direct people's attention to something that's
Yes.
to look at.
Very important.
I'm obsessed with noses. Is there a particular nose? I noticed that you draw quite a few different styles of
Yeah.
noses. Is there one nose that is your go-to? I love to draw that.
No, I don't have a go-to nose. That's an interesting observation. But one of the, let me tell you real quick. I know we got to vacate this space. I harp on a lot about the anime. I don't like anime. A lot of people, like I say, like to make big hands. I don't know why. And then these big Mickey Mouse shoes drive me crazy. I hate that. I mean, that was good like 60 years ago, maybe. And then big noses. They think, oh, let's give them a big nose, and that's funny. And to me, it looks like they can't draw. And so they let's do a big nose. That's funny. So I don't like big noses. So I like to vary my noses, have different, wide noses or skinny noses or pointy noses or bulbish noses. I like to keep a variety of the noses, but I generally stay away from big noses. It's a crutch. You can tell someone can't draw. So thank you very much.